Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and today we are going to be talking about how black success is not just for fairy tales. Just give me a second here. We're going to do a couple of shares, and then we're going to get started. I only got about 45 minutes. We're going to be on here for about 45 minutes today, and then we're gonna have to close this out after that point. But we're going to talk about how black success is not just for fairy tales. Now, before I get started on this video, let me say this. Actually, I'm gonna do one more thing, then I'm gonna get started on this video. Let me see if I can do this on this tablet. We've got a lot to talk about in a very short period of time. Gonna see how this goes. Gonna use every device I can possibly use. All right, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. All right, so first, always let me thank everybody who subscribed to my YouTube channel. Greatly appreciate it. Now, everybody who supports me through Patreon, greatly appreciate it. So like and subscribe on YouTube. That's a great benefit to my Larenzo Reid page. And I greatly appreciate everyone. All right, so why black success is not just a fairy tale. But before we get there, let me briefly say this. This is not a disclaimer out of any kind of fear. This is not a disclaimer out of any kind of hatred or malice or anything like that. But some people, based on what I'm about to talk about, white people in general, well, let me stop, reverse, go back. Caucasians. Because one thing I am going to kick out of my vocabulary is, and even though this is titled black people, we have that common thread. But understand, there's no such thing as black people, white people. All right? I'm not black, I'm brown. White people ain't white. You ever met somebody who look like this? They're not white. This is white. All right? That don't exist as a people. But of course, there are reasons, rationales. But we call each other by that in America, and we kind of have to. We kind of have to in a sense because of a disconnect. And we're going to get to that disconnect. But first, let me say this: that the growth and the economic, the spiritual, the mental, the physical, the educational growth of black people in America is highly instrumental, is highly valuable to what we call white people in America. When white people see black people coming up and defending themselves in the same way that white people defend themselves, a white person should not be offended by that, but recognize that if the black community begins to grow and prosper, that it prospers the entire country, that everybody prospers, that you cannot hold a group down and expect your area, your land, your government to prosper. If that was the case, then slavery would still be going on in the very basic sense of slavery in America, if that was the sense. If that was the sense, then it wouldn't be only a few that are profiting from the prison industrial complex, which is just an additional form of slavery. That wouldn't be happening right now. The poverty rate, the unemployment rate, these kinds of things would be in full force in the black community if holding the black community down like that would be the goal. Would be the goal. How you doing, Prince? I didn't see the name, it moved too fast. Shalom, brother. But here's the thing. Princess, my sister. Here's the thing. Imagine America, or even the world, being a body. If the body is broken up into parts based on what we call race, then imagine if, because of the way things are in this country, the Caucasian is the head, and the people from Kibulan, as I like to call us, are the left leg. Asian people might be the right leg, and Spanish people might be the body, and I don't know, somebody else is the arms. It doesn't matter what part of the body, it really doesn't. But if America was a body, and one portion of your body has gangrene, you have one or two choices, America. cut off that piece, separate it from yourself so that it doesn't grow and kill the rest of the body, or allow it to grow and kill the rest of the body. But your third option is to utilize the natural medicines of the world to cure that part of the body. Because without curing the body, you either got to cut it off or you got to let the disease fester and kill the rest of the body. So white America, when I say everything that I'm about to say and you take offense to it, then what you are effectively saying is that you either want to cut the body off and then walk around with a limp, with a prosthetic, without the ability to truly function at your fullest level, or you want the entire body to die, to burn down. It's a choice. It's a choice. So I say that in the beginning, not to placate, not to beg nor ask white people to join in to what is going on with Black American. What I am saying that for this simple reason. For this simple reason. Malcolm X said that, to paraphrase, Malcolm X said that we cannot practice community love until we first practice self-love. So I'm saying that it is not that I'm looking for white people to come on and be our Messiah, be our Savior. Heck no. What I'm saying is that handle your own house. Handle your own house. How you doing? Salute to you too. Handle your own house. When you see a white person acting out of line as they are doing in Brunswick, Georgia, handle your own house. When you see police brutality towards Black people, handle your own house. You got to stand up and handle it. You have to stand up and handle it. It's in the same way that I see that with every culture. We all have to handle our own house. If you go back to videos that I made during 9/11 time frame, one of the biggest things that I kept saying was that, hey, if Arab people don't want the mainstream world to think that all Muslims are terrorists, then stand up against your brothers who believe that terrorism is the way to strike. In the same way, Black people, as much as we stand up towards police brutality, stand up towards racism that is happening to us, gunning down of a young Black man, stand up to young Black men, old Black men, shooting and killing one another. Let me give you an example that just happened to me about 30 minutes ago. I haven't even told my wife about this, but I had to run an errand. And when I ran the errand, I had to stop by because I was out of my coffee, so I had to get some coffee. I ran quickly into a Walgreens, and while I'm in there, I'm hearing two sisters arguing with each other, calling each other the B word, calling each other out, ready to fight, that sort of thing. When I came up to the front, what did I see? I saw a young Black man standing there in line, just looking, gawking. I saw another Black sister standing there looking, gawking. I saw a white dude just walking by with his head down as if he ain't seen nothing. And then I saw the other employee just standing there looking, gawking. I was surprised nobody was recording. What's up, Anu? Now, here's the thing. Because I don't believe in policing others before we police ourselves, or actually, let me rephrase that. I believe in policing others as we police ourselves. I stepped in and I was like, look, sister, neither one of y'all pay each other's bills. Neither one of y'all live under each other's roof. Instead, you're standing here stressing yourselves over whatever the situation is. I don't even know what it is. You might be right, you might be wrong. It doesn't really matter. At this juncture, y'all are not going to do business together. So just walk away and breathe. Walk away and let it be. Don't let this spoil your day. Don't leave here. And they was like, but she, and I told both of them, shh. It doesn't matter, but she. At this point, y'all are in such disagreement, just walk away. I am Astrology, what's up, man? Just walk away from each other. Just call it a day. And they dispersed. And then no one else said nothing. We got to police our own in order to make this work. Right? Because this idea of success in Black America, we got to have it. We got to have this in our lives. We must have this for future generations. I can tell you right off the bat that some people are going to have a disagreement, a lot of disagreement with what I'm about to say. But the fact of the matter is, we can find unity in our disagreement. Matter of fact, we have to find unity in our disagreement. there is no other way that is going to work. We're all not going to agree, but we have to be at least in one level of agreement. And before I get there, because there are 7 points for us to have this success, 7 things that must go on for us to have this success. Without them, they won't happen. But I will say that it happens on multiple levels, and I will cover the multiple levels as we go through it. But many people are going to find a divisive voice and starting to say that, well, they ain't gonna let us. Here's the thing. The only they that won't let us is ourselves. The only they that will stop us is the negative thoughts that we have about ourselves, the negative thoughts we have towards ourselves, and then how we carry them out in action. If we want to succeed, we can succeed. It is as simple as us believing in it ourselves and doing it. You know, one of Dr. King's last speeches, interviews, he said that he believed that his dream has awakened to a nightmare. That integration had turned his dream into a nightmare. And guess what? He was right. He was right. Our communities are divided. We ran and said that, hey, integration happened. Hey, Mr. White Man, take my money. I'm not going to spend my money with this black business anymore. I'm going to run to you. I'm going to force you to take my money. Yeah, because you denied me the ability to sit at a lunch counter in Woolworth. So now I'm going to sit at a lunch counter in Woolworth. You're going to feed me. You're going to take my money. I'm going to buy this food. But all the while that you're proving this point and making them money, that lunch counter in your black neighborhood is losing. That lunch counter in your neighborhood is going out of business. But yet, we got to prove ourselves that we can have this. That's the nightmare of Dr. King's dream that he himself admitted. What we have to do is recapture that. We have to recapture what was going on in the black community before integration. The mindset of the black community before integration. And many people are going to find it divisive, the fact that I'm saying that, because they're going to say that we want to isolate, we want to separate. But no, we want to take care of our communities in the same way that everybody else does. We're playing a game, but we're playing the game as if we're not coming from an oppressed position. We have to play the game from the position we're coming from, not the position that others are already in. Sure, Asian people have Asian community. They got little China, little Korea. They got little Cuba and all these other places that they have their whole culture that is backed by a country, a land, a culture that they come from. Most people, and let's be real, here's the other divisive thing that's going to come, it's going to happen, and I don't mean to offend anybody, it's not intent to offend anybody. Black people's biggest issue, one of our biggest issue right now, we running around. My family ain't got nothing to do with the slave trade. My family's from America. My family ain't got nothing to do with, I'm not black or African. My family's Hebrew Israelite. I'm not African. My family is Moorish. I'm not African. Africa don't even exist. That come from Scipio Africanus. That came from the Dutch in the 17th century. It was originally a Kibulan. Oh, well, maybe it was in the northern part, but in sub-Saharan Africa, it wasn't. It was called whatever the country, the native tribes called it. There was so many. I am sure I said I just paid my black friend to come and fix my car. I spent my money with him instead of the Pep Boys. Exactly. Me and my wife are having contract work done right now, and everybody who's doing it is black. Everybody, every last one of them. And I'm even delaying the opening of my newest popcorn shop because I'm making sure that I'm putting my money in the hands of some brothers. Right? So here's the thing. We will separate ourselves by trying to connect to an ancient culture that truly we can't even connect to. You see, the difference is an Asian person, they last name is Ling or whatever. They know they Ling family. The Patels know the Patel family. The Irish person know they Irish family. And they can go back to Ireland and actually physically trace their roots and find their cousin who's still there. Unfortunately, most of us in America can't do that, period. Whether you claim Moorish, whether you claim Hebrew Israelite, whether you claim native to America, you can't do that. I was talking to a brother who was saying, "Now my family's native, my family native," and I asked him a question. I said, "Oh, well, here's the question: are you attached? Do you have the paperwork? Are you part of any of the Native American tribes, the recognized tribes? Are you part of them? Can you go onto the and go onto the reservation and get the benefits? Are you getting those benefits, or are you just putting it on the census paper, or are you just claiming it because your grandmama told you? Like, what are you doing? Do you have it? Do you have it? And are you getting the benefit of it? Because I can claim to be Chinese, I can claim it. I can say that my grandmother's on my mother's side ancestry shows that that some of her family came from China. I can claim it, but I can't go to China and say, hey, cousin Ling Ling, that's you. This is me. I can't do that. I have no connection like that. I don't. My connection is here in America, unfortunately. America is my only connection. Yeah, we've traced pretty far back, but paperwork gets lost. Not all paperwork was kept, but we've traced pretty decently far back on my mother's side of the family, and even further on my father's side of the family. So we've traced pretty far back, but the paperwork gets lost. There wasn't as much paperwork in Africa, what we call Africa, for my family to have further connection. So I can't go to Nigeria. I can't go to Senegal. What is it? It was Nigeria, Senegal, and what's now called the Ivory Coast. I can't go there and say, that's my cousin right there. That's my, you my cousin, 50, 11 times removed. I can't do that, right? Whereas many other cultures can. So I have to start here in America. And let me tell you something about that kind of thing real quick here. And trust me, these 7 things are going to be real fast. I got a hard stop at 2 o'clock. Most of these cultures, when they come here, by the time we get to the 4th generation, that person doesn't even hold on to that culture that their grandparents came from, or their great grandparents came from. Most Vietnamese children, by the time you get to the kids or the grandkids, they don't even speak the language. Just like a Vietnamese person will struggle with the letter V or the letters V and W, by the time you get to the grandkids, those children don't. They sound like they answer the phone. You can't. That don't sound like Ling Ling. They sound like Jennifer. All right, that's what they sound like. They have no accent. They eat American style foods. They know their culture, but they're not as connected. So we have to realize that we adapt to our culture. We adapt to where we live, where we grew up. So what I'm saying, when we go through these 7 things of how to make Black success not into it doesn't have to just be a fairy tale, is that we have to play this game from where we are. From where we are. If you connect to Hebrew Israelites and want to dress that way and look that way, great. Do it. If that gives you that thing that makes you step forward in a change in your life and making your community better, do it. I say the same thing about everything and everybody for that. If doing it through Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Hindu, whatever it is, do it. If wearing dashikis get you there, do it. Whatever it is, do it. If it gets you there, as long as you got community going on and we ain't fighting each other. Hey, white people, how you doing? As long as we ain't fighting each other, because here's the thing, we can all do it together. We can all do it together. You go to the Asian community here in Atlanta, it's Vietnamese, it's Korean, it's Chinese, it's Japanese. They all living together and they all working together. They all just doing their thing in their little community. And they all circulating their dollar. We the only one, we run, and people, Irish Americans. Now, did white people have that problem back in the day? Where, you Irish, you Polak, and you this and that? Yeah, they did. But we can't afford that. We can't afford any of that. We have to sit here and say, I got a phone call to make at 3 o'clock. We have to sit here and say to ourselves, yeah, I find pride in the fact that my family is Yoruba. I find pride in the fact that I've identified my family as Kemetic. I've identified my family as Israelite. I've identified my family as Moorish. I've identified my family as native to America. Whatever. Okay, great. Find your pride. But what I do know is that I'm in a country where no matter what I say I am, the oppressive state around me says that you Black. Police pull up. Oh, you Moorish. You good. You ain't Black. Oh, you Hebrew Israelite. You good. You ain't Black. No, they don't do that. You Black. You Black. That's all that matters to them. That's all that matters. So we got to stop that. We can't be like China and the 6 warring states because we want to have 6 warring labels. We have to recognize that regardless of all of that, we got to unify within our differences, but move forward and bring about something so that by the time we get to our second, third generation, their whole perception of life is totally different. Do you realize that it only takes one or two generations? And let me not say generations, because usually generations mean 40 years. It only takes nowadays about 10 to 15 years to actually change the whole psychology of a culture. The whole psychology of a culture. And if you want an example of that, go research Rwanda. Go research Rwanda. It's been in less than 20 years, President Kagame has changed the entire culture of Rwanda. There are people in Rwanda who remember the genocide, who lived during the genocide, who survived that whole time frame, who killed people, who were killed through that whole genocide. I know, I was in that area in the Marine Corps during that time frame. But if you look at Rwanda now, you can't tell that that 25 years ago, they went through a genocide. You can't tell. You can't tell. Even looking at South Africa, it is less and less available for your eyes to see that they were in an apartheid situation. It doesn't take that long to change a culture anymore. So what I'm saying is that we who are here in America can change the American culture for black people and how we function and how we protect ourselves. Now, I want to applaud all those different organizations, and this is a part of coming together, who went down to Brunswick and stood there with they were armed black men who stood there within the law of America, stood their ground, stood on their rights, and made the white people of Brunswick realize that black people can come together in unity. And we can use the exact same rules that they use in order to benefit us. And that's what we have to do. Use the exact same rules that to benefit us. And when those rules don't benefit us, break them dang on rules. Straight up break them. Because we're doing some stuff that don't make sense. And there's some other black countries doing stuff that don't make sense. Y'all know, if you've listened to me before, I'm not understanding why Haiti is still paying France and Quebec. Okay, is it France and Quebec they're paying, or France? Just France. They're paying one of them. But it's like they're paying them for lost wages because they revolted and won. In most situations, when you revolt and you win, you don't have to pay reparations to the country that you took your freedom from. That's stupid. No white country does that. So why is Haiti doing that? One of my goals in the next 10 years is to convince Haiti by one way or another to stop paying these people for your freedom. Are you serious? Haiti will become self-sufficient. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Don't know how yet. Don't really matter, but I know I'm going to do it. Now, so what is it? So now that we got that out the way, what do we need to do? How do we need to get? Well, of course, first we have to get into the right mindset. We have to be in the right mindset and recognize that, regardless of our differences, we have to stop arguing about them. Many of you guys who follow me on YouTube, I used to argue about religion and spirituality and history and that sort of thing with people, get on there and do all these debates and all of that. And many of you followed me because I used to do that. And many of you don't follow me anymore because I don't do that anymore. You know why? Why am I going to sit up here and argue with another black man about his religious beliefs? Argue with another black woman about her religious beliefs? The only thing I want to argue with another black man or a black woman about is, what are you doing for our community? What are you doing to build your children? What are you doing to make your life better so that we can have something to be able to stand against the oppression? Because power only respects power. So how do we get power? And that's all I care about. I could care less about your religion. I could care less about your name. I can care less about what you call yourself. I can care less about any of those things. As long as it's not hurting me or the community at large, I don't care. But your arguing does. Your arguing does. And when you let those who call themselves and give themselves the same label as you continue to spew out this foolishness without you reprimanding them, it makes your whole organization look bad. The whole damn thing looks bad. So we got to get into the right mindset. So the first thing, in order for us to have this success, because everybody walk around, Wakanda forever. And when the next one come out in 2022, everybody going to be Wakanda forever. All right? We're going to be saying it, but we need to do it. Can we do it? That's what we need to do it. All right? And in order for that to happen, number one, we have to have a definiteness of purpose. Why are we doing this? What is the purpose? Every organization that says that they are for the growth of the black community has to understand what their purpose is. And the purpose for developing and growing the black community in America is simply for this reason only, for our own freedom of self-determination. Our own freedom of self-determination. You see, without the ability of self-determination, the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. You see, slavery at its core is just the inability for people to determine their own destiny. That's all. That's all slavery is. Your inability to determine your own destiny. You see, those in prison don't determine their own destiny. They can't even determine when and where they eat, how they eat. They can't determine when they go outside and that sort of thing. That's prison. That's slavery. But we live in a slavery, in a system of subtle slavery, when we walk around and we allow the political forces around us to do and determine what we can do. Let me give you an example of this. A week ago, my wife showed me this video. She didn't want to show it to me because she said, if I show you this video, you're going to get mad. And she was right. Now, you got to understand who I got mad at. The video shows this black dude, he's a trucker. He's driving in his neighborhood. He drops the load off in the neighborhood, and then he keeps going. And then one of the people one of the white men, two white men actually, who are part of the homeowners association, they stop this brother. They pour their car in front of him. They stop him. They don't allow him to leave. Now the brother knows he can't drive over the grass because then he'd be arrested by the cops. So he allows these white men to stop his freedom of travel. He virtually was kidnapped. Basically, they were kidnapping him because they impeded his ability to leave, to determine his destination, his movements. He calling his girlfriend, baby, I don't know how long I'm gonna be late. I ain't gonna be able to go nowhere. These white men in here. He calling everybody except the dang on police. That's the mentality of not having definiteness of purpose. You see, when you have definiteness of purpose, even if his definiteness was the fact that he got to get to work, get to his girlfriend, go wherever he just needed to go. I just want my freedom. Then the first thing he would have called and said that, well, I'm being kidnapped. Boop, boop, boop. Hey, police, this is, well, I don't know his name. This is Larenzo Reid, and I am being detained unlawfully by two white men of a homeowners association who they are not police officers, and I'm being kidnapped. I am fearing for my life. I feel like I'm in danger. I need help now. He didn't call the police. He let them call the police. He let them call the police over and over again. And then when they felt secure, after the police probably told them that they can't do that, then he left. Talking about see, I'd have to deal with this kind of stuff. No, you don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. You only deal with that kind of stuff because there's a slave mentality. There's still a PTSD from slavery that's going on in your mind. That's what keeps you dealing with that kind of stuff. So, but when you have definiteness of purpose, you don't deal with that level of mental slavery. So the first thing we have to do is get our definiteness of purpose intact. My brother sent me a video from the it's the Not Effing Around crew who went down to Brunswick, of their leader talking and having a militia. He's right. The gentleman is completely right. The moment that you bear arms, that is when you are saying that I am a true citizen. I will not be held against my will. I will not allow you to hold me against my will. I will make sure that I can do what I need to do. Now, I'm just saying, every person in America, every black person in America need to be carrying one of these. You need this in your life. You need this in your life. All right? You need this. Get a good shot at that one. You need to have that in your life. You need to follow the rules. Get your ability to carry. And when you have your license to carry, let them try to stop you. You are well within your legal rights. Take a class on everything you need to know and everything you need to do when you're carrying. Don't just do it. Don't just do it. So we got to have a definiteness of purpose. Didn't realize he was free, so indoctrinated in fearing white supremacists. Exactly. That's what who said that? Beatrice Scott just said. we got to break, in order to break that, and see, we got to break that indoctrination. And of course, all the comments in the video is like, they wrong, white supremacy, see what they think. They think that because they can get away with it. When they were calling the police on black people barbecuing, I kept saying during that time frame, stop, call the police on these people. I wish a person, a white person, Asian person, any person would try to stop me. First, I'm gonna call the police. But if they get too close to me, I'm gonna beat that butt. Plain and simple. Is it because I'm fearing for my life? You invade my personal space. You came within 12 inches of me. You raised your hand quickly at me. I'm gonna record it. I said before, we gotta record everything that we do. My wife the other day was saying, I don't understand why people need two phones. I started to say we need two phones because we need one for recording and one for calling. All right? So you need to have at least two. I have a tablet. I always have my tablet with me and I always have my phone. The reason why, one of the reasons why, other than just business, something happens, one's going to be recording, the other one's going to be calling. So I'm just saying you got to have both. But when you got definiteness of purpose, you're not scared of that. So we got to have that as a community. Definiteness of purpose. What is our purpose? What are we trying to accomplish here? We want freedom for our children. We want freedom for ourselves. We want to determine our own destiny. And in order to do that, we have to build our own community. We have to build our own community. Now, I know that, Malcolm was talking about separating, having our own land. Let's be real, people. That's not going to happen. Unless you're ready to go toe-to-toe, full-out war, that's not happening right now. It's not. All right. Even the Native Americans, when they got the five civilized nations, when they got their land was inside of America, so they still had to abide by American laws and rules. And look at how they're just running through them because they want to do what they want to do. Native American tribe tried to stop people from driving through their reservation and checking them for COVID. And what did the government? They clamped down on them. They don't have freedom of their own land. So, but the only way we can gain freedom of somewhat of our own land is to start buying the community that we live in. We got to buy our own houses. Like there's a whole program, just go read Richest Man in Babylon and understand it. But one of those things, one of the rules of money is to buy the property that you live in, invest in the property that you live in, make the house that you live in an investment property. You got to buy your own house. And many of you are like this close to buying your own house, actually, but in your mind, you think it is far away. It's not that hard. It's really not. All you need is some patience and some time. I told you guys 11 times how to do it, but just keep watching, keep talking. We'll figure it out. We can do all this. And one of the things that the guy said in the not effing around crew is that they try to kill black messiahs, right? And the thing about it is the way that he is not the only black messiah. There are black messiahs. There's tons of black people out here whose goal is to bring black people into a promised land. And that promised land is right here. Because if it's here, then we can have it out there. And we have to follow the action. You see, this brother's following his with action. They showed up. But he was very clear. They're not showing up everywhere. We got to do it for ourselves in every community. So the second thing that we need to do in order to have success is mastery of ourselves. We have to first determine mastery of ourselves. Like the example I gave of those, it's not an example. What happened today with those two young ladies, they don't have mastery over themselves. They allowed themselves to escalate into an argument, right? Don't wait for them to call. You call first. Exactly. Those two young ladies got into an argument and they kept going back and forth, back and forth. They allowed their emotions to overwhelm them. We cannot allow our emotions to overwhelm us. Here's the thing. We, as people, period, people, humans, right? What separates us is not the opposable thumb. What separates us from all the other animals, all the other beasts of the field is our mind. Our ability to think beyond the body's sensations, beyond the instincts that we all naturally have, right? See, a dog reacts to its body sensations and environment, and it doesn't think beyond it. It can't control it. You see, just because you're hungry doesn't mean you have to eat. Just because you're thirsty doesn't mean you have to thirst. Just because you feel pain doesn't mean you have to scurry away. I tell my nephew all the time, I said, look, boy, you got to learn how to endure pain. Just because you know how you're walking, your hand hit the table and you feel that pain and whatever you're holding, you release it and let go. I tell him, Your mind got to be strong enough so that instinctively your hand hits pain, you don't let go of whatever you're holding. There's a whole understanding lesson in that. It's teaching him that pain does not rule you. You're going to be in situations of pain. You're going to be in situations of physical pain and mental pain, but you cannot allow that to determine how you respond to every situation. Just because somebody did you wrong does not mean you respond to them to do them wrong. You step back. You recognize what's going on here. What is the best response I can give that's going to be to my advantage or to the advantage of the whole? Right? We cannot allow that to happen. We have to master ourselves. We have to master how we eat. We have to master how we eat. I was picking on my wife. We did a live page, and I was telling, hey, I got out of my mastery of eating 90% vegetarian lifestyle, and I've gotten back to it. Mastering what I eat, because what I eat determines how I feel. What you eat is what becomes you. And I used to tell my clients when I was a personal trainer, if you can, when you master your body, you can master your life. So we have to learn to master ourselves. We don't have to eat McDonald's just because they put it in our neighborhood. We don't have to eat Burger King because they put it in our neighborhood, or Wendy's because they put it in our neighborhood. We don't have to eat the negative foods simply because they put it in a box, right? We choose what we eat. We went to the farmer's market and we bought like $200 worth of food from the farmer's market and been eating on it for the last 2 weeks, right? And some people, when you go in there, you think, oh my God, I spent so much. But at the end of the day, we're eating better. We feel better. When you eat better, you have better energy. Your mind thinks better. Everything flows better for you. Your energy completely changes. So we have to master ourselves by mastering our thinking and how we feel and what we eat. When you master your thinking, when you don't allow opinion to be facts, when you don't allow for you having to be right, the ego to outweigh what's in reality, the what's in the benefit of everybody else, then you become a greater person, because at that point you're not a slave to the fanciful opinions of other people or even those of yourself, but you think things through. And we're going to come back to that. We're going to circle back to that one a little bit deeper in a minute. Prince, is it Yafa? I think I'm saying it right. I knew when I saw 111, I needed to listen in. Is that when I started? So, it's the beginning of a new spiritual journey. I love the numbers. The third thing that we have to do is learn from adversity. Now, this is a big one, people. This is one of the things that separates us a lot. Learning from adversity. And here's why. Many times when we want to learn from adversity, what we start talking about is it was that time? Cool. We start talking about our history, our past. We're trying to connect to some historical past. And usually we're looking for something great. The kings and queens of Kemet. We're looking for that Moorish Empire. We're looking for the 12 tribes of Israel. We're looking at Shaka Zulu or the Zulu Nation. We're looking at things of that nature. We're looking at the Americas. We're looking at greatness, great kingdoms. And that's not a bad thing. But let's be real. I don't wear dashiki. I don't wear the desert robes. I don't wear Native American gear. I don't eat those. Well, I do kind of eat, I eat food from all over the world, so let me not say that. But you know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up in those cultures. I didn't grow up understand, Ottoman. I didn't. I grew up in America. I grew up with my parents. I grew up with my aunts and uncles. I grew up with my grandparents. I didn't know any of my great-grandparents, but I grew up with that culture. I grew up in America. I know America. I dress like an American, right? These are the things that I know. The adversities that I can learn from are those that are closer to me. That's how most people are. Now, I will say I am different. I will go and look at historically how countries like the Congo gave away, thought that Belgium was going to be the Belgian king thought of him as a brother, but then played him to the left. And I can recognize how you have to be mindful of your friend might be your enemy. The one that's smiling in your face may not be your friend, because I look at ancient history, but most people can't. We have to learn from the mistakes, the problems of our most recent ancestors. Marching and protesting didn't do much for us. Let's be honest, it didn't. The civil rights bills weren't signed because Dr. King and all of them marched in protest. It was signed because people like the Black Panthers were there, and the people like Martin and Malcolm were more apt becoming more apt to join that mindset. Dr. King has started saying that, hey, we're going to take this to the United Nations. Malcolm said he was going to take it to the United Nations. Dr. King started saying that we're going to hurt the American pocketbook even more so. And it was those things that start bringing it in. It wasn't out of some benevolence. It wasn't out of that the American government said, you know what, we've been doing black people wrong for so long. We got to treat them right. We got to treat them right. That's not what happened. Fear of the black dollar and fear of the black militia brought about the Civil Rights Act. But then all of that, we got flipped on it. We got comfortable. We thought that everything was going to be fair and equal. And here we are. It is not. So we have to learn from our adversity of the fact of what did oh gosh, I can't remember what general said it or admiral, but he said something about being forever vigilant. The Jewish who suffered during the Holocaust in Europe, what did they say? Never forget. It's been multiple generations since. Never forget. Never forget. They make sure that their children never forget. They make sure that they financially are in position to ensure that they never forget. They make sure that they're organized so that people will never forget. We have to get that mindset. That old atrocity, sure, slavery happened, horrible thing. But most kids, like my nephew, can't connect to slavery. He can't. He can't. He can barely connect to things that I grew up with in the 70s and 80s. So we have to be able to look at the adversity. What happened then and what are the mistakes then? What's going on right now? What are the mistakes? Black people have a tendency to run into a great financial situation late. We jump into the housing market after the money has been made. We jump into IT after the money has been made. We have a tendency to run in after the money has already been made. We have a tendency to keep voting for the Republicans and the Democrats, but they ain't doing jack for us. We have a tendency to keep doing that. We have to be mindful of those things and learn from that adversity. We have to say that, you know what? We allow for the Asian to come in and build all the beauty supply stores, to build the gas stations, to build the restaurants and do all these things. Yeah, they may be friendly, but at the end of the day, they take their money back to their community and they're building their community. So if learning from our adversity is to say that, hey, there's a black person who opened a beauty supply store. Let me go to them. It may cost a little more, but let me go there. And now with Alibaba, it shouldn't even really cost more. You know, it really shouldn't. They may just need some more coaching. And as a black business, there's so much information out there now. You don't need it. And here's another thing about that. Learning from adversity. We know that black people, we have this idea that, oh, why isn't Michael Jordan? Why isn't Oprah Winfrey coming into our neighborhoods and doing something different? Here's the thing. Their money is tied to the mindset of white European media and economics. So those kind of people cannot, at risk of their own selves, come into our neighborhood and champion us. It's just not going to happen, right? It's just not. But the way that somebody can champion you, can champion your community, is if you support them. Because let's say through Uncle Renz Popcorn, I decided to finance a black militia in Atlanta, right? Let's say I do that. Just the same way that the guy with the NFAC is doing. Let's say I do that. If the majority of my stores are in white communities and they get wind that I'm supporting this, they can start protesting, cut off my money. Now, where does that leave me? I don't have the ability to do it. But if the majority of my stores are in black communities, and then it comes out that I'm supporting these black militias that's protecting black communities and black schools, are the black people going to start saying, well, I'm not going to support him because he's supporting my community? No, it's not going to happen. But the only way that happens is the business mindset and the population mindset has to come together. Now, the business is going to have to do it first. The people ain't going to do it first. So if you own a business, stop thinking the people are going to do it first. They're not. You know, as a black business, you got to present your business higher than what they expect. You do. That's just the reality of it. And when you do it, then you got to show them how much you care. When I was helping a friend of mine build his company, we used to always say, people don't care until you show them how much you care. So we have to do it first. So we have to learn from those adversities and then move in the right direction, get the right course of action. And then the fourth thing, because I'm running out of time here, the fourth thing, my nephew has a virtual graduation that I got to get to, which is like right over there in the next room. We have to control our environment. Control our environment. We got to buy the houses in our neighborhood. We have to determine what the schools in our neighborhood is going to teach. Who cares? Like one of my cousin's cousin, I like saying that. One of my cousin's cousin, she teaches a virtual program to teach Black history to Black kids, especially homeschool kids, right? Bitch said long lines outside the Asian hair stores now that the stores are slowly reopening. Exactly. But we got to build our own stores. Trust me. I will get into the beauty supply game. I'm getting into the beauty supply game. I'm going to get into every business that is sucking money out of the Black community. That is my goal. That is not, I don't even say, I don't even know how I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say it plain. That's what the hell I'm going to do. I purposefully will open businesses in the Black community that Black people are supporting, but they're giving their money to somebody else. Like I will open a beauty supply store within the next 2 years, straight up within the next 2 years. And from that, I'm going to keep growing. The reason why I have my popcorn company, because I don't even care if I take a loss on the beauty supply store for the first 10 years. I will put them prices so god doggone low that I'm going to run everybody else out of business just to make sure that people understand. You see, I know I'm not just going to talk it, I'm doing it, and we have to do it. But we have, and that's what I'm saying, control our environment. We can't just say, oh, there's nowhere else to go. We got to go build it. Get together. If 10 of y'all got together and 10 of y'all put $1,000 in, you can open up a beauty supply store. And keep your other job. Keep your other job. Because don't look for it to be your big money right now. Put that beauty supply store in your neighborhood. Market it. Let people know that you're doing this to build the Black community, to build that community. But set up a program where you're going to teach business courses to other Black people who come in there so we can build that community. That's another thing that I'll start in the next 24 months is a place where I can just teach people in the community how to build business. Right? Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps and I know how to fight combat, but I also know how to do nation building. That was my primary. My record book don't show that, but that's what I did. Nation building. Now, but we have to learn, we have to control our environment. We have to control the schools. We have to determine what the school is going to teach our children. I don't care what the superintendent says. We have to be able to, my kids were in a school where when they took arts and sciences out of a lot of the schools here in Georgia, my kids were in a school where the parents said, we will pay for the teachers ourselves. And the parents all got together and paid for the teachers so that arts and sciences stayed in the school. I'll admit, I was in a predominantly white area. It was like 60-40. But they paid for it. Paid for it. That is what I want to bring, is what I'm bringing to the Black community. That's what we have to have. Regardless, but in order to do that, we have to build our economics. We have to build the businesses and control the businesses in our community so that we can hire the people in our community. I tried to do this with the Black churches and the Black mosques and temples on the east side of Atlanta, but none of them wanted to do it. So I decided I'm going to do it my dang self. But we have to build our Black community. And here's the thing about Black people, and this is just all people. Once somebody sees something is successful, they will join in and do it. They'll join in. Especially if they see that they are losing people to it, they will then join in. I actually started to make it into a religious organization, but I was like, I don't want to be that person. But we can make it, but they'll join in once they see it's successful. Just like many people, we run into the IT market after we see it's safe. We run into the real estate market after we see it safe. So once people see that it's safe to do and you can be successful, they'll join in and do it. Just like the American Revolution didn't start because most people in America at the time frame, the colonies, wanted to revolt against England. Most people actually were pretty fine with it. A few people decided to make a change and everybody got in line. It's as simple as that. So we have to control our environment. When we control the school, when we control the businesses, and then we control the politicians and the police in our community, then we control it. Then you're controlling your environment. You get to determine what's going to happen and what's not. There's a street in Lithonia called Covington Highway. There's one neighborhood in that street that holds financial and political power. And that neighborhood decided that no more hair salons, barbershops, liquor stores, or auto mechanic businesses will be put on their stretch of Covington Highway, which is about 5 miles of a stretch that they decided. And they got that passed. Why? Because they hold the financial and the political power in that neighborhood. They own the houses in that neighborhood. They can do that. It's there for us to take it. We can. I started a pregnancy center to help black women to understand the truth about abortion. That's Princess Jaffa. Where is that? Where is that? Now, got a few more minutes. Number 5, caution in your planning. We can't throw our stuff out there willy-nilly. It doesn't work that way. I pull information from everybody. I don't care who it is, what they look like. It doesn't matter to me. General Patton said that a rushed-in plan will fail. Princess Jaffa is in Orlando. Oh, that's cool. We'll be in Orlando in Labor Day weekend. Me and my wife and about 70 members of my family. YouTube will not let me put the name. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Send it to me in a comment or email it to me, and then I can say something about it on another broadcast. I won't be able to do it this time. But you have to get out there and plan. Call Fiona Jackson, helping black women in Orlando understand about pregnancy, and she may be helping people virtually even beyond that. But Fiona Jackson, helping black women understand the truth about abortion in pregnancy. But so, caution in our planning. We have Fiona Jackson Center for Pregnancy. So that's Fiona Jackson Center for Pregnancy in Orlando, Florida. And black women who want to understand more about pregnancy and abortion, Fiona Jackson Center for Pregnancy in Orlando, Florida. So caution in our plan. We have to do better at planning. We have to do better at utilizing coaches. We have a tendency to not want to spend the money or pay for things. We have to get past that. And do it and do better, bigger and better. Let me hit these last two because they not cracked the door, so I know that I'm running out of time. So number 6, harmony from the chaos. Right now we exist in chaos, y'all. We existing in chaos. We got to find the harmony in it. I love sitting in the eye of the storm. There's peace in the eye of the storm. And I love having 11 things going on at the same time. That's how I do business. I can't do business when I just got one thing I've been working on. It bothers me. That's why that's why I do real estate, and I have my Growing Popular Company, helping my wife to expand her daycare and coaching, because I have to have the chaos. But there's harmony within that chaos. We have a chaotic situation where we're splintered. We have to bring harmony to it. That's what that definiteness of purpose, that goal is, to bring freedom to our communities. We can do that. All we have to do is recognize the pathway, and we get on it. We get on it from our different perspective. The National F Around crew, militia, great. I love business. Come on. Spirituality, whatever. Let's do it. You into health? Come on. Let's do it. It takes all of it coming together. It takes the whole 360 degrees in order for it to work. And number 7 is hypnotic rhythm. Time. It takes time to set these things into a pattern. Like I said in the beginning, it won't take us 40, 50, 60 years. It won't take 400 years in order for us to change the mindset of black people. All it takes is for me to have changed my children's mindset, and my children's will teach their kids totally different, and they will have a different mindset. All it takes is for me to teach my nephew. He will do differently than anybody else, and then he will teach his children totally different. So all these things don't take a lot of time, and we have enough proof to be able to do it. List of black-owned businesses in your area on Google. We need to look it up and start checking them out. True, we need to check out the black businesses in our community. And these black businesses need to do better with their marketing. They need to pay for, people on YouTube and Facebook, that's where they at. You got to pay for the ads. Just pay for it. You got to do it. And then as you bring them in, then you can go more word of mouth. I don't know. But it takes time, y'all. It takes time to build it. But it doesn't take that much time. We got to get out of this mindset where everything got to be now, 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 now. Nothing happens in the now, now, now. You are who you are because of 10, 15, 20, 30 years of programming from your childhood to adulthood. You will change based on the next 3, 4 years of reprogramming. It can all be done. It's not that difficult. But guys, this is how we have that as a success story. This is how we have, it's not a fairy tale. We can make these changes. So I look forward to it. I got to go. Y'all have a great day. Remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. And remember, good journey, good vibrations. We will reconvene very soon. Very soon, very soon, very soon.